Hello, my name is Olav, and today I was planning to show some techniques that I've used to construct these buildings. I was thinking of showing how to obtain the crackle paint effect on the woodwork and also how to make the brickworks. So it's 6 or 7 different techniques, so I think I'm going to start right on. First, I was planning to show how to make this crackle paint you can see especially on this white building. There's actually different techniques to use, but I found the use of a crackling paint the best one. Crackling paint has been on the market for many years, but I think the problem with lots of crackling paint is the crackling is not in the right scale for 1/35 scale. But luckily we found one brand called Ranger Crackle Paint that turns into very small bristle crackling effects. So the first thing I start with is to make a grayish color on the wood. Or maybe first I should say a little bit about the wood, because I always use basswood. Basswood is very tense and the right structure for 1/35 wood. I think if you use pine or balsa is very soft, and pine is the wood grain is very big. So basswood is perfect, I think, for this scale. It comes in many different sizes, and I normally don't prepare them before I start to give them a base coat. The base coat is a grayish color, grayish dark black like this. That's usually a good base color. You can make this base color using acrylics, washes like this, grayish washes, or also ordinary watercolors like this. The trick is to make the wood looks very and old. And also one important thing about doing this kind of buildings, this kind of walls, is do always one strip by one. Don't glue everything on the wall and paint the wall. You have to do and finish the strip before you glue it to the wall. I think if you make the whole wall in one session, it will get very uniform. Like this. I would normally let this dry maybe for 20 minutes. So I'm going to use this one that has been dry for a while. And take the crackle paint. This is water-based, and like you see, it's very thick. Like this. I normally don't thin it, because if you thin it, it often loses some of the crackling effect. So I try to use it as thick as it is right out of the bottle. And the more paint you put on, the bigger the crackle will be when it dries. It's not fun to sit and watch paint dry, so we put this to the side for a while and come back to it a little bit later. While it dries, I can also send this round. It shows the base color and the crackle paint, and the treatment after the crackle paint is dried is done by using different washes, like this. That's one way to make the worn look on the wood. Another one is using a little bit different technique. I'll show you. Again, we make the same base color, the grayish, kind of dirty look on the wood. And then I take, this is white spirit. And this is acrylic paint. And white spirit and acrylic paint doesn't usually mix very well. So we will try to get a special effect using them both. First, we soak the wood with the white spirit. Really soak it so it's really wet, like this. Like this. And then on with the acrylics. Like this. And speed up the drying a little bit with using a hairdryer. Like this. And then I take a scalpel and scribe on the surface of the paint. Like this. And the final step is using normal Scotch tape. And put it on like this. And then you can drag off as much paint as you want. Normally I would probably let the red paint dry for maybe 10-15 minutes before I start with the tape technique. But again, you can obtain a very nice effect using also this kind of technique. And the final technique I'm going to show on how to make a peeling paint is using Tipp-Ex, like this. Again, the same base color, dry, not with a white spirit. So I used this part, and just on like this. The bad thing about using this Tipp-Ex technique is it's very fragile. It doesn't take much handling when you finish it. And then you can very carefully remove as much as you like with a scalpel. Like this. Pass it around. Okay, that was a little bit about the woodwork on the buildings. Next I'm going to show a little bit how to make the brick walls. For the brick walls I use a material called the styrofoam. It's for the construction and building business, and it's very hard and much better to work with than, for example, this other white. I don't know the English word of it, but it's perfect for making brickwork, and it's also perfect for using for bases and everything. So I highly recommend this material for different kind of use. Okay. Use just normal scalpel and a ruler. And first I scribe the lines. I measure the stones by eyesight. First the horizontal lines, like this. But now the lines is too narrow, so I have to widen them. To widen them I use a razor blade, like this, put it into the lines and bend it back and forth, like this. Then the vertical lines, using a different scalpel, and again by eyesight, eye measurement, stick it into the styrofoam and bend it back and forth to widen the lines, like this. Finally you will have a wall like this. Now the surface of the wall is very flat and very uniform, so I then make a stamp. You can use a wood stick or whatever, as long as it is the same size as the brick. Like this, and then you can press the stones into the surface, like this. And the nice thing about this material is if you press it and you make dents and scars and everything, it stands there. It doesn't go back. The biggest drawback about using this material is it doesn't take turpentine and white spirit very well. It can react and it can actually melt, so a lot of hours can be ruined in seconds. Then using acrylics and paint on a dark brown color. Of course, bricks comes in many colors and varieties, so it's just a matter of taste, I think, and what you want to use. Using a sponge to get some variety into the color. Normally I would have waited maybe the next day before I make the mortars now, because when you put on the mortar it tends to loosen the color, so I had some bad experience with it. But I have some here that I made a couple of days ago. Then I take plaster. And mix a thick mixture with this. Like this. And just take it on like this. This. Then I take the sponge again, soak it in water, and drag it up like this. Again, a matter of taste how much you want to remove. You can go back if you miss some spots. Like this. Like this. It's actually a fast method to make brick walls. all the brickwork you can see here is done by using that technique, like this. And also these bricks, exactly the same technique. And when the plaster is completely dry, you can go and make thin washes and carefully wash the mortar lines. But again, be very careful on what kind of white spirit you use. Test before you use it on the real thing, like this. Now it's. I can send the crackling paint around, the one we made, the first one we made. You can see it start to crackle.
Where do you find this?
I buy it in typical hobby shops for not the hobby like we do, but what's scrapbooking shops, and yeah. But if you do a search on internet, the Ranger Crackle Paint, you find their main site, and they also have a shop list for every country. So it's highly recommended.
Can I see the Crackle Paint?
Yes, of course. Now I was thinking about showing how to make some broken glass. The same broken glass I've used in some of the windows on this building. Of course, when you make glass windows, you can use a lot of materials.
This is not the price, it's material.
Oh, that's in Norwegian kroner. But I found that using these small glass plates for microscopes is perfect. It's very, very thin and very fragile, so it's kind of difficult to work with because it breaks very easy, so it's a little bit difficult to work with. You can of course use it as it is because it has a really nice scale thickness, I think. But if you want it broken, or maybe a bullet hole or whatever, you can do like this. Put it down on a clean surface and use the Scotch tape. You have to use the clear Scotch tape, not the matte, of course, the clear one. And maybe you can't see it, but it's on the tape now. And try to remove as much air bubbles as possible. Like this. If you're going to use the window as it is, not broken, you don't need this tape. But if you want to make a crack in it, you have to use the tape to keep the glass together. I take a soft surface, put it on top, and small nail, and just like this. I'll send it around. Like this. I bought it in a photo shop that that sells microscopes and cameras and everything. So it's a kind of glass plates you put under the microscope, the stuff between them. Yeah, and it's very, very, very thin.
Where do you find these glass?
In shops that sell cameras,
Okay.
microscopes. It's very tricky to, like I said, it's very, very fragile because it's so thin, and it can be very tricky to cut in the wanted size. And of course, this is the only size I've found, so it's very limited. You can't do huge glass windows, but I think you can also use it in car in door windows on cars if you would like, and if you want to cut it.
The old slides, you know, the slides.
Yeah, yeah.
They used to be with glass.
Okay.
They're a little bit
Thicker.
thicker,
Yeah.
not much, but they have weight. Their dimensions a bit.
Okay.
So if you
Yeah.
find them on a second-hand thing,
Yeah.
you can use those too.
Interesting. I think the easiest way to cut these thin plates without breaking them is using a steel scriber like this and a ruler. And be very careful to put the ruler on and very gently scribe like this. It's in two pieces. If you're making dioramas with damaged and bombed out buildings, and you want glass from the windows on the ground, it's perfect because it's so thin. So you can just put it in a cup or something and just crush it and spread it around. It's very, very nice because it's so thin. It looks very realistic. And it's real glass, so it has the right transability. What's the run?
Is it possible to color the glass?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe from the backside is the best, I think. Light airbrushing or something.
C'est pour la recherche, la recherche.
Also a couple of words about the roof tiles I've used on these dioramas. It's the tiles from Juvela. It's plastic and a very good good tile for especially for this is This is scenes from Norway, and it's very typical for the Scandinavian roofs, and also rest of Europe, I think. But to get this look on them, I've used a technique like this. I'll show you. Take dark wash first, like this. The Uvela brick tiles is made of a red plastic. So here I have primed them with a red-brown color and a dark wash. And this is very messy. I usually do it down in the dustbin. A lot of paint on the brush, and you understand? I can't show you because everything's gonna be very messy. Like this. And it seems I forgot my favorite wash at home, a greenish color that makes a really nice effect to the stones. But it's left at home, I see. Yeah. Because again, I think it's very important to paint one tile by one before you glue it to the roof, because then you get much more variety to the color and life to the color. Again, if you glue everything on and paint it in one color, it gets very uniform. Yeah, if I had the other washes, I would have used them, but they're not here. But I think you get an idea on how to obtain a dirty look on the roof tiles.
Which is the name of the tiles?
Uvela.
Uvela.
The Sockle Shop has them, I know. The final technique I was going to show is actually a very new technique. I just tried it a couple of times earlier this week, so it's kind of new, but I think it will work, and it's a very nice way to make cobblestones. And then I'm going to use a soldering iron like this. It's important to have a soldering iron that you can adjust the temperature, because a normal soldering iron will melt the styrofoam very easily. And on tip of the soldering iron, I made used two brass profiles, square profiles, and attached them to the tip of the soldering iron. And carefully press it. You have to find the right temperature, but when you find it, it's very fast and very easy way to make cobblestones. Like this. Just press it gently into the styrofoam. And a couple of minutes, you have this. That's also just with a gray primer on top. Haven't done much work with the weathering on it. Of course you have to do that, but just a test. The concrete on both of these dioramas, these parts, is made by actually a very interesting material. It's also quite new to me. It's called Sibatrol. I don't know where you buy it, because I got it from a school, but it's very interesting material for diorama building.
That's what you use to make the press.
Yeah.
It's easy to
Very easy to carve and work with a knife. So.
What's the name of this?
Sibatrol. Sibatrol. Yeah. Yeah, an art school. Yeah. I think it's very. I think architectural companies use it when they build huge models. Yeah, I think so. I got it from an art school, so I don't know where to buy it. But I think you can buy it in some kind of. I did a search on internet and found a shop that sells things for casting.
It's not forex. Forex.
I don't know.
Two layers of plastic with the expanded plastic inside.
No, it's in huge blocks.
Oh.
Yeah, in blocks. Yeah. So just slice it off, and very easy to work with. And C I B A T O O L. Sibatrol. Maybe there's an R there, but if you do a search, try also with an R. Like this, yeah.
How do you apply it?
Just using an electric saw. It's very, very easy to cut and carve. Okay, a little bit back to the first strip we made with the crackling paint. When the crackling paint is dry like now, if you want to, you can easily remove the paint like this, carefully scribing with a knife. Like this. And it also washes very well. And give it a dark wash. The crackling is more visible, like this. But again, I will say that it's very important to finish every strip before you glue it to the wall. You can also use this crackling paint on, for example, vehicles. If you're going to have a burnt effect, a rusting effect, it's just a matter of playing around with it, I think. It doesn't come in many different colors. I think only 7 or 8 or something. But you can carefully mix it with the acrylics, but be careful not mix too much because it will lose a little bit of its crackling effect. But it's possible. Okay, please feel free to ask if there's something I'm happy to answer if I can.
The steps in that one, that is made of that Sibatrol.
The steps?
The steps in front of
Yeah, the steps and the sidewalk,
yeah.
And also the concrete in this one. Yeah. But it's easy. You can also carve. You can carve bricks in it if you like as well. Yeah. Yeah. That's the best thing. I think it's the color because it only needs a couple of thin washes and it's ready. A very realistic concrete color.
How do you fix your plants? How do you fix your plants?
The plants. This. Normally I stick most of them into the wet the surface, or I use white glue, wood glue. You know the white
glue.
White glue. The white glue.
Oh, white glue.
Yeah. Because it turns transparent when it's dry, and yeah.
What do you use for the ground?
The groundwork. I use a sculpture mold. Yeah, I think it's very right consistency and very easy to work with. I usually mix it with plaster because that speeds up the drying process. But the structure when it's dry is very nice, I think. And I always mix a dark color into it.
Acrylics.
Yeah, acrylics. Yeah. Because if you let it stay, if it's white, it's very difficult to cover everything outwards. Yeah, breaks off and yeah. So I always mix a lot of colors into it. But this is, like I said, a very recommended material for diorama building. Also for the the bases is because it's so solid. You can cut it and you can glue wood to the sides, and the bases are ready because it's so solid.
The sides of yours are very nicely. What material is this?
This is actually aluminium, very thin aluminium.
Paint
Yeah.
just spread off
Yeah.
the stone?
Or this is plastic card, so it's just yeah, different materials.
See, if you have figures like that standing on the ground, do you pin them afterwards, or just put some glue and put it on the...
Which one?
For example, this one, the one standing here.
Yeah.
So he's on a bit of plastic.
Yeah, it's not.
When it's finished,
I usually drill a hole in and pin it. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of work left on this diorama. I don't even have the story ready yet, so I don't know what's going to happen in the middle of it. So we'll see. And I'm also going to make a higher base to it, like this, so it's going to stand even higher up. Yeah.
so this is in fact a wooden frame.
This is,
Where
yeah.
the other one is.
And it's also like this for easy transportation. Yeah.
Is this 35 scale?
30, it's 35. Yeah. This is 24, 124 scale. Yeah. Okay. That was everything I had to show you today, and like I said, if you have any answers, I'll be happy to answer them. So,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome.